psychology as a whole, but even cinema therapy, stands at a very core position. Cinema therapy is a great way to connect to humans at the very core. I want to help there. So most likely you're here because you've watched my videos on cinema therapy, or most likely you're not, because this is the first video I'm going to make in English, and most likely for a while this is going to stay that way. As Kurzgesagt does it, I would love to make English and German and all the other kinds of language videos, and that would just be a dream, or maybe just work for them in the future. But for now, I need to divide my resources where available and where necessary. So this will be the first and probably the last for a while English video I will be going to make. I do have to say that I really enjoy watching and sharing my thoughts with English-speaking community. The second you open your horizon to the English-speaking internet, you have the availability of so much information and so much perspective to filter your own narrowed view from your own little bubbles. And one of those English resources is cinema therapy. Cinema therapy is a great way to connect to psychological, to movie making, to humans at the very core. Jonathan and Alan center their work around humanity and around how we function, how psychology works, and how we connect with one another. And I want to help in that area. As a little context, I wanted to go into the fields of psychology, but in German you can't do that unless you are 1.x student, and I was just barely in that category. I always felt a fascination for psychology and correlating topics. So when I went into IT and engineering, I always kept psychology in mind, and cinema therapy was a beautiful connection point to keep that connection alive. And now with what I'm able to do now, I want to give back to that community. I want to use the skills I acquired to connect the dots that are aimlessly flying around in the cloud of human consciousness. I want to do models like I've been doing in the previous videos. I want to help everyone both understand how the world works and find the resources they need to do so. So I am not a psychological expert, and I am not a movie making expert, but Alan and Jonathan are, in each their different regards. And I want to help you to get to them, and I want to help you to find what they've been putting out over the past years, and what other channels like Corridor Digital in the filming regards, or Psych2Go, or various different channels have already put out as great and valuable information. And there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, other very good, credible and valuable sources out there. And I want to help connect that. And I guess in a way, this video is like the Alan-ish part of my video series on cinema therapy. Because I would assume, well, what I am picking up on the way they do their videos is that Jonathan has specific key notes and kinda goes along a script, both a mental script and an educational script of what he has learned and how he builds up a therapy session. But also, I do feel like somewhat of a written script, at least on basis of keynotes. So he has taken down notes and he knows what he's going to talk about. Alan, on the other side, is kind of like our human stand-in in this situation. So there's this center of knowledge in Jonathan, and there's the human reaction, Alan. And in a way, this stand-in kind of mirrors this video. So I do not know precisely what I'm going to talk about right now, and I do not know what I will be talking about in 2 minutes. But I do have a rough estimate of where I'm going and what I want to say, and what I know and what are my previous experiences. And I guess this video is, in that way, the Alan-ish part of my video series on cinema therapy. And I do think, in a very wondrous way, this rounds up this series. Originally, I wanted to make a final video on the Encanto movie and wanted to go in depth through the videos of cinema therapy, how they do it, how they structure it, what's going on, what memorable quotes are there, and all the various wondrous stuff that they can achieve. And I still want to do that. I very much want to do that. I want to do it on a large scale, and I want to build tools to allow me to do it semi-automatically, and I want to do it as a general concept for the entirety of all the content that is out there from cinema therapy, including Psych2Go, including Dr. K, and connect all of those resources into one pool of understanding. But for now, that is not possible, both due to the Encanto video not being available right now, as well as to my tools being very limited, as well as to my time being very limited, and financial resources and human hours. It's just not possible at this very moment. But I do think it is possible, and I do even think it is possible within my personal lifespan, and I do think it's possible within a foreseeable time of, let's say, 15 years. And with everything I want to do, including this video and including me talking to you, I want to get there. I want us to be able to achieve a greater understanding of where we are, what we need, and what we can do, and what we can know, and what we can be sure of, and how we can communicate with one another. And I do think psychology as a whole, but even cinema therapy, stands at a very core position, because we like to watch them. We enjoy it. You can easily just put up a cinema therapy video in almost any context, and it's not going to be a bummer. You can watch it instead of studying, and you will be watching the entire video, but you could also watch it at a party, or maybe different kinds of parties. You could also watch it with friends. You could watch it if you want to make a movie evening. You can watch it, and you can also watch the videos they kind of recommend, because none of their videos summarize sufficiently the movies and the feelings they convey. So about every video I watched on cinema therapy or on Cinema Wins, I also either watched before I watched the YouTube video or watched because of the YouTube video. And sometimes I even paused the video and was like, no, I want to see the movie first. I want to get the experience first before we talk about that. And all those events and all those information gathering solely for now in my head is not enough. If I watch all the videos, I can be a stand-in for their thoughts and for their mindset in my bubble, in my world. And if everyone watches it, everyone can be a stand-in for that. And at no point in time, I think, everyone will be fully self-reflective and fully void of all those flaws humanity brings with it. So we will always need resources like cinema therapy, and resources like cinema therapy make it way easier and way more accessible to even think about therapy and to understand the concept and to understand our own psyche and to understand what we need and what we are and what we want and what we can do. And as I've looped back around many times in this video now, I want to summarize it, yet I do not know how at the very moment. This video is kind of a stand-in for the current state of development of BorgNetzWerk. We do have the resources. We do have the thoughts how to work with them. But we neither have the tools nor the time to have achieved our work yet. But this is the motivation. This is the spirit. This is the thought process. This is what we want to do. We want to build a shared reality which can be talked about and perceived by everyone, which everyone can agree on, which everyone can relate to, and which people like Alan and Jonathan are our gateway to. And that is why I want to say very, very special thanks to Jonathan, to Alan, to their permission to do this, as well as their content which they've been putting out all the past years. I would love to see them continue, and I love that they broke through the first million. I guess for now, that's all I can provide. My thanks, my gratitude, and my best wishes for the future. If they want, I can help build a wiki or build a foundation of textual-based, a transcript, a shared database of everything they've collected, a shared database of all their resources. I want to help there. and I want to help everywhere where there's an informational management need in psychology as well as in any other field. I want us to get steps closer to our shared reality, and I hope I could convey this motivation, and maybe I could spark some of that motivation within you. So please watch their videos, maybe watch some of mine, but especially take good care of yourself and see what you can do to contribute to our shared understanding and a shared ground truth. And thank you, Jonathan and Alan. And, as always, stay safe and stay critical.